Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm Shawnta Jackson, and my purpose in life is to help people to help themselves and others. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. I do appreciate your comments and your questions. So please do actively participate. Also, please do share this video, host a watch party. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. And today's topic is youth leadership. And I think it's important to support youth development and leadership and and the reason why I think it's important is because we want to make sure that we foster positive change and growth that will benefit us all. And today I have with me three marvelous, amazing young ladies. I have Kumei Norwood. She's 12 years old and she is a youth business owner. She owns Tofu Tees in Las Vegas, Nevada. She'll tell us about that. And she's also a social justice advocate and very socially conscious. And then also joining me, I have Kendra Marsh. She's 25 years old and she's an advocate for youth, and she's located in Baltimore, Maryland. We'll have a chat with her as well. And my third guest is Rachel Lewis. Rachel Lewis is 29 years old, and she is the co-founder of a nonprofit organization located in Baltimore City called Mentoring Mentors, and she also leads a women's group, a young women's group. And so we'll bring them on. But first, I'll bring on Kumei. And again, she is 12 years old and she is the owner of Tofu Tees in downtown Las Vegas. Hey, Kumei, how are you? Thank you for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good.
And that's very good. And how's your
no
family?
problem. I'm good.
How's your family doing?
They're good.
Mom, dad, brother, everyone's good?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's jump into it. You are the owner of Tofu Tees, and you just recently had your grand opening on March 20th. But before we talk about the grand opening and Tofu Tees today, can you give us a little history and a little background about when you got started?
Yeah. So I have a design that's why are people so sensitive? And that's basically the design that brought my whole business together. So when I was 7, 8 years old, we found that design written in a notebook randomly, and me and my mom thought it would be funny to put on a t-shirt. And then after I made the t-shirts, people started wanting to buy them for me. And then soon after that, I started making more designs and then going to markets and selling them there. And that's how my business came together.
Okay. And so with markets, so from age about 8 years old, you said? And so so for 4 years, you would go to so how would you sell your products? You would go to various farmers markets and events and set up there?
Yeah, I would. The main market that I would go to is called Market in the Alley. It's like a collective of a bunch of different small businesses, kids and adults, and on the weekends you just set up a table with all your product and then just sell it there. And that's what I do. That's how I sold most of my stuff for 3-4 years.
And how do you balance your creative projects and your business with school?
So right now I'm staying virtual for school, so I do school while I'm at my shop. Before, whenever I do markets, it wouldn't really interfere with school because it would be on the weekends, not during the weekdays. And I would make like my products after school and make videos on Instagram about them. So it didn't really interfere with school that much.
Okay. And you are also, you're very socially conscious, and you care about social issues. Could you tell us a little bit about, what social issues are important to you and why?
So the most important social issue to me is equality. I feel like equality stands for a lot of things, not just race equality. So it can race equality, gender, yeah, like those two main are the main ones for me that I support. And then I also like um sorry.
No, it's okay.
I support like one of my newest designs is social issues are not trends, and that's really about equality too. So it's mainly around equality for my main social issue that I support.
And how do you define equality? Like, explain that to us. What does that mean to you?
Equality is treating everyone fairly, depending not depending on their race, sexuality, gender, or age.
Okay. And do you believe that there are some people that need more assistance than others in order to reach equality?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so that term is what I just mentioned, that sometimes there are, so for example, let's say in school, you may have some kids in school that live in a certain school district that they have computers, they have access to Wi-Fi. They are fortunate to come to live in a home where they have enough money to pay for food and items and different experiences. And then you may have some children who are just the opposite of that, right? You may have some children that you're lucky to have both of your parents, right? But that's not the case for everyone. And then some children may have issues with income from home, so they may not have a lot of resources, and so those children may need extra resources as compared to the other children. And so that term, so it wouldn't be equality. So that term that I just explained is called equity. So that was my little lesson for you. So there's equality. So equality is giving everyone the same. And then equity is meeting the needs of people, and then understanding that some people need a little bit more just to help them get it, so everyone can, so that they can advance. So that was my little teachable moment for you. And so let's go ahead and share with us some of your products, because I know you mentioned that social issues are not a trend. So you actually express on your products a lot of your views on social issues. So if you can, if you don't mind, if you can share some of your products with us.
Yeah, I don't mind. So right now I'm actually wearing one of my t-shirts. I'm gonna stand up so then you guys can see the design. This is one of my most popular designs. And then I also have hats. This just shows my business logo, Tofu Tees, and then I sell like small miscellaneous items that have my sayings on it. So I have like buttons that say I love unicorn slime and equality. And this is the design that started my business. Why are people so sensitive? And then when I was really little, I had another business. I make bracelets, and I call them wish bracelets. And I still sell them in my shop. And these are what some of them look like. And that's a few products that you can find like in my shop and then on my website online. And then I also sell zines. So this one's about Kids Against Racism march that I held a year ago, and this is like interviews from the kids that came. And that's a few products that I have.
Okay, and so that's really nice. And so you hand make a lot of your products. I saw that you have these bandanas.
Oh yeah, I have one right here. These ones?
Yeah, so explain how you make those. So you design those yourself, the ink?
No, I dye them with like fruits and vegetables.
So explain that to us. I've never heard of that before.
So the pink ones are dyed with like avocado pits. So basically, you just boil them in water, and the avocado pits, you boil them in water, and then you put whatever fabric that you want into the same pot with the avocado pits, and then it dyes it like a pink. Um, it can be like a light pink or a really dark pink if you use more. And then I also have different colors, like I have like a brown one that's made with coffee beans, and then yellow ones that are made with turmeric and onion skins, and there's like a light blue that's made with black beans. And those are some of my new items that I've been selling too.
And how did you learn that?
So I found it out like online a few years ago, and I wanted to put it in my shop because I thought it's like a really cool natural item that I could sell. And that's really how I found out about it. There's also another brand that um, makes them too, and they said like the different types of fruits that you can use to dye them different colors too.
Okay. And how do we care for those? Is it like hand washing in cold water? Will it fade at all, the colors?
They shouldn't fade. You can machine wash them.
Okay. And what have you learned thus far since being in business, since opening your store?
So I've learned that a lot of things are unpredictable. Like some days things will be super popular, and then other days it'll be like a new thing that people really like, and you can never tell like how the flow of customers is going to come in. And I also learned a lot about taxes and everything, like saving receipts, so then I can pay taxes for my business because I got a business license to open my shop. So I had to learn a lot about um, the, along those lines too.
Yeah, and that's a lot. And you'll and I'm proud of you because you know a lot of people they won't start a business until they think they know everything. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to be, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, to learn as you go. And so I'll pause for a moment. I do want you to tell us how we can shop at Tofu Tees and how to stay connected. But before we do, I want to check in on the chat. We have Raquel. Hey, Raquel, I haven't seen you in a while, Raquel. Happy Saturday. She's checking in from Las Vegas. And then we have my mom, Belinda. She says, congratulations. She's so proud of you. And then we have Kevin. Kevin Lang is checking in from Las Vegas on Facebook. And he says, very impressive, young lady.
Thank you.
And then we have Vaughn Norwood. Aunt Vaughn checking in from Mississippi. She says she loves it. And Kevin, he says, keep being innovative. And then we have Shamika. Shamika's checking in, and she says she's very proud of you too.
Thank you.
And Terry, Terry from Baltimore, she says, congrats on your business. Yes, this is very amazing. The fact that, so you actually have a store.
Yeah.
And so tell us about your business hours, how we can shop, where you're located.
So my shop is it's on Fremont Street, right next to Ferguson's downtown. And my hours are from 11 to 5, Wednesdays through Sundays. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Tofu Tees. And then you can shop online at my website, tofutees.weebly.com. And that's the main places that you can find me.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. So we have everyone tofutees.weebly.com to check out some of her items, and Kumei designs these t-shirts. You have t-shirts for children and for adults, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And if
And
you
then
can
I also have like a lot of little accessories too, like masks, hats, stickers. I have like a bunch of different items.
Okay. And please do follow her on Instagram as well. And if you don't mind, if you can stand up one more time so we can see your shirt.
Yeah,
Racism
this is
is trash. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you the best of luck, and I will support you in any way that I can. You're always welcome to come back. I really do appreciate you, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was so cute. That's like amazing. Um, oh, Kevin says that I froze. Am I frozen, you all? Let me know. Well, I'll keep talking. I'll, oh yeah. So Raquel, am I frozen to you? Kevin says I'm frozen on Facebook. Are you having that same issue? Someone just check in to let me know that we're okay. Raquel says really cute products. Okay. I'm pausing. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, you all. Technical difficulties. Thank you, Terry, for checking in, for letting me know. Okay, so again, Tofu Tees, Kumei Norwood. She's my little cousin, by the way. And so we're very proud of her. And so my next guests, they are young ladies. They're not kids or teenagers. We have Kendra Marsh. Kendra Marsh is 25 years old, and she's located in Baltimore City. She, by trade, she's a nursing and geriatric assistant, but she is also a youth advocate. She serves on the Youth Advisory Board for Baltimore City, and she also serves as the chair of the Youth Workgroup for the People's Commission to Decriminalize Maryland. And so she'll tell us a little bit more about that. And then also I have Rachel Lewis. Rachel is co-founder of Mentoring Mentors, a nonprofit organization located in Baltimore City. And she also has a young women's group called Young Women Creating Their Transformation. And by trade, she is a legal analyst for T. Rowe Price. And so for me, it's just amazing that the fact that, these are women under 30 who have invested in themselves, but also serve as advocates for youth, leaders, and mentors. At this time, I'll bring on my guests, Kendra and Rachel. Hey, Kendra, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Let's bring on Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I love the hair. I love the hairstyles, the earrings. You all are popping. We're just fabulous, positive energy, and I'm loving it. So, Kendra, what did you think about the interview with Kumei?
It was very beautiful to see her at her age, 12 years old, doing her business. When I'm 25, I haven't even started mine yet. So it's very, very beautiful. I loved it. I loved it.
And what about you, Rachel? I know you work a lot with young girls. So what were your thoughts?
I loved it because, I try to tell my young ladies that it doesn't matter what age you are, and seeing a young entrepreneur at the age of 12, having a website and all. And she was very well spoken. So I just enjoyed it.
Yes. And Rachel, I think it's important for the both of you, but I think it's important that, she has adults, she has trusted adults. In her case, it's her parents, but she has someone that's supporting her and that's fostering this positive youth development and that's mentoring her and guiding her. And so Rachel, let's start with you. And that brings me to Mentoring Mentors. And so you co-founded this organization in the past. I have had your co-founder, Alfonso Mayo, on the show as well. So tell me a little bit about your journey with Mentoring Mentors and just mentorship in general.
Okay. So I started out with Mentoring Mentors in 2015, and it was during a time when the Baltimore riots was about. And I just knew that I wanted to do something more directly, have an impact. My original goal was to be a judge, but I figured that, it was too late when people are, in the courtroom. So I really just wanted to, be in the forefront, in the streets and helping young women and young men, to make a difference and a change. So I felt like, it's something that we needed to do, something that was a necessity. And then just being that role model, letting young African American know that, you have people that you can look up to.
Okay. And how many kids are in your program right now?
So I have a total of 10 young ladies that I serve, and I believe the young men is about the same number, so maybe like about a total of 20.
And how's that format? Is it after school, and how has that changed since COVID?
Yes, so as of right now, our program, we do Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I had the young women's program, and we have Steve that has the young men, but we meet on Zoom. So it's challenging because everything is virtual, but I feel like it's necessary because you want to keep that consistent relationship with the young ladies. We try to be very creative with Zoom. I know we just had some outings. We did where we went to our sister's dinner. So I'm trying to get a little bit more active in person with the young ladies, but it is challenging with, trying to stay safe with COVID and everything. But yes, after school is typically our hours.
Okay. And congratulations on your sustainability, because you mentioned since 2015. So this is ongoing. This is not just a one-time thing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And Miss Kendra, to you, you are Yasmin for the people, Kendra for the people, and you are an advocate. You've been testifying during this Maryland legislative session on behalf of youth. Can you tell us a little bit about, just your why and some of the issues that you are supporting, or some issues that you are against?
Well, I'm gonna start off with my why. My why is because I was in foster care from 13 to 21. So I experienced a lot of things that was going on that needed to be looked at. And through it all, I would talk to the youth, to see, if our ideas would match and everything like that. So I ended up getting on the youth advisory board. So while I was on the youth advisory board, we was having meetings where we were discussing about justice and everything that they needed, so far as resources. So as I was on that board, I ended up becoming a part of the People's Commission, and I ended up becoming as chair. So doing as chair, I ended up working on House bills for Delegate Sheila Roof. One of the that was House Bill 700. That was about youth, far as instead of them going to jail, we will find resources in the communities that will help them to keep them out of the prison system. So there was different bills as far as that I was working on.
Okay. And do you feel that there are laws in Maryland and throughout the United States that penalize youth for just regular adolescent behavior, or behavior that is relevant based off of their experiences and their environments? Do you think that people are being charged for not for crimes, but just for kind of being them, or being young, or being Black and young?
Yes, I feel like it's a lot of laws in Maryland that is penalizing children for just being a child. That's penalizing children. You don't know what's going on in their home. You have younger siblings that's watching over their younger siblings, and they're going to schools and they're lashing out. They don't have anybody to talk to. We live in a world where youth is being judged so much, and they're not being able to express how they feel or voice how they feel. They just look at just calling the police. And I know back in my time when I was growing up, we had rec centers, we had officers who care, officer friendly. We had all of these things, and I want to keep that narrative. I want to go back to that narrative where the community actually cared. And one of the bills that I found out was when, now a child can just call abuse on a parent, and that takes rights from parents as well. So I want to get all of that narrative back onto the communities caring for the youth.
Thank you. And Rachel, Kendra just mentioned, youth expressing themselves or not being able to express themselves without being penalized. And so one form of expression is music. And a lot of youth, especially Black youth or youth of color, they use it's rap music, and that's how they're expressing themselves, especially with a lot of our young men. And even though they are expressing themselves, and I'll start with you, Rachel, do you find that some of their messaging or content is problematic?
I would say it gets to be an interesting concept, you know, when we are listening to some of the rap music and they subconsciously don't know what they're saying out of their mouths. And, you know, as a mentor, sometimes you gotta be like, stop, listen to what you just said, you know, the lyrics, 'cause we're so caught up in the beats. So I believe, you know, sometimes it does begin to be, you know, a problematic situation because we're so subconsciously used to listening to the R&B, the rap, but is maybe not having a positive narrative.
And what are some of the artists that your girls are listening to?
I would say, you know, it's the Cardi B. You got the Beyonce. Some of them like the softer end, like Alicia Keys. Those are maybe like the common ones.
Okay. And so what's your stance if you're out on the trip with the girls and they are in the back of the van and they're singing their songs and they start rapping WAP? Like, what's your response, your reaction, and what's the teachable moment?
Right. So I would say I think the girls know from the stand front that they're not gonna play that song around me. I think it's more so I have experienced like some of the cussing, and I'm like, all right, as long as there's no cussing, you know, it's the clean music, the dancing and things like that. Because my young ladies, they like to dance. So I tell them, you know, no explicit. So they're very careful with what they choose. Sometimes the cussing words may slip through, and I'm like, all right, next song, you know. But yeah, definitely just, you know, explaining to them that listen to the lyrics, you know, having a stop and listen to what this person is saying. You know, is this a reflection of you? Because what you listen to is what you begin to do certain times.
Okay. And Kendra, oh wow. I kind of got lost for words for a second. So Kendra, you mentioned that you experienced or that you grew up with, I think you said 13 through what age did you age out?
21.
21.
Mm-hmm.
13 to 21. And so as of now, how is your relationship with your family that you were living with prior to age 13?
Well, with my parents, our relationship has gotten so much better. You know, I'm grateful for the parents that I have because they showed me real love. They showed me marriage before children. They showed me how, you know, how just respecting someone and loving someone can change narratives. You know, I try to not judge anybody, and you know, just having my parents is just amazing, the onlook that I see. So our relationship has gotten better, and I love it.
Okay. And what are some of the when you aged out, was there support provided to you to help you to get started off in life as a young adult?
With my family, they always have been with me through foster care, so I always had that support. Even in foster care, I always had that support. They saw me growing, so I grew a big support system. While I was in foster care, before I aged out, around 19, I was able to get my own place. I was able to establish going to CNA GNA program. You know, so I was already pushing myself to be an adult before I actually aged out. So, you know, I handled everything. I ended up getting my own place on my own. I did everything. So when I went to my caseworker, everything was already done.
Okay. And what's your vision for yourself?
My vision for myself is just to be the light that God needs me to be for the youth. To be the voice, to be, what God needs me to be, so I can push forward and be there and change these different laws for the youth, so they can, move forward. It's so many different systems that are in place for youth to fail, but I want to be that light to push them.
Okay. And Kendra, you just recently had a national interview. I forget the name of the organization, National Juvenile Justice.
Yes. Can't think of the whole thing, but yes, it's like Juvenile Justice Network.
And so, how did that come about?
That actually came about being in the People's Commission. They sent me an email for a youth leader interview. So I followed the directions. I did everything I did. Sent my resume, everything, and they actually liked what I was doing. So I did the interview, and she was just amazed at everything. So and that's when the article came out. So.
Okay. And for those of you who are watching, the People's Commission to Decriminalize Maryland, it is a group of as well as the People's Commission. It's the people, but it's a group of organizations, leaders, community lawyers who have got together to look at Maryland criminal code that unfairly targets people based off of their race, gender, and socioeconomic status, and just who they are. And as we all know, usually it's Black and brown bodies who are impacted by a lot of these laws. And so the People's Commission, they're looking at these criminal codes and they're making recommendations and advocating for changes in the laws, whether it be to totally decriminalize or repeal the law or make changes to the law. And so that's what Kendra is talking about when she's talking about the People's Commission to Decriminalize Maryland. And let's check in the chat. We have, hey Gina, Gina's watching from Oakland. We have Sidian, he is watching from Uganda. And he says, oh, nice stuff for Tofu Tees. Yes, much love. And Belinda, my mom in Las Vegas, she says, congratulations to the both of you. Keep on pushing. Black Girls Rock. Von Norwood, my aunt in Mississippi, says, hats off to you ladies for your realistic view of Black youth. And Raquel says, big up to both ladies for all that you're doing. And we have Dr. Tia Freelix. She says, kudos to you young ladies for being a positive influence. And yes, thank you so much. And Tia is a previous guest on my show. She appeared twice. We got a panel discussion on love and relationships. And so speaking of love and relationships, Rachel, you are mentoring girls. What are some of the different conversations that are coming up in their adolescent years? Your age group is, remind us again of your age group for your girls that you're mentoring.
It's 11 to 18. And then our whole goal is once they age out and they go to college, we're looking for them to come back. So it's like a inner peer model.
Okay, and so yeah, so you're having a sustainable inner peer model where you're mentoring these young women and you're mentoring them to be mentors, and so that they can come back and do the same exact thing that you're doing.
Yes.
Okay, and so as it relates to relationships and love, what are some of the things that are coming up in conversation, and what do you and what advice or different topics are you all talking about?
So some of the topics that we covered, a big one is self-love, loving yourself first and, having that confidence, because without those attributes, you can't really impact another individual if you're not loving yourself. I love to tell my young ladies, find out who you are, find your purpose and be true to it. Because a lot of times we steer our decisions based on what our parents want us to do. But I tell them to, find your purpose, be who you are as a person and be true to it. So that's some of the topics that we cover. Like I said, confidence and self-love is a big one. I know right now we're reading a book called Wholeness with my mentors. And that book has been really good. It's a good reflection book. So that's some of the big topics that we've been covering.
Okay. And your mentors, how old are they and how many mentors do you have?
So my mentors right now are around the ages of 22, and I'll say the oldest I believe is 24. And as of right now, it's because I just got some new interns, so it's about 5 of us.
Congratulations. And how do you feel, or so where did you learn your leadership and your management skills from? Because it takes a special type of person to supervise, manage, and lead 5 individuals.
hmm I would say some of my leadership skills I would definitely have to say from my parents. My dad is a business owner and my mom also works alongside him. So a lot of the values that I have come from my parents, and then also my foundation with my church. That's where I got a lot of my core principles from, and personal experiences, going through life.
And Kendra, I asked Rachel a question about love and relationships, and how do you define love and love for yourself and love for others?
Um, I would have to agree with what she was saying. Yes, you have to have self-love. I feel like you cannot love the next person unless you love yourself first, because you would know how to treat the next person once you love yourself first. So, how I define those two is, it's just love and respect. It goes hand in hand. I just try to love the person first for anything.
Okay. And Kendra, when do you think that, at what age did you really learn or recognize that you loved yourself?
Ooh. I would say once I aged out of foster care, going through the trials and the tribulations from 13 to 21 was very hard. But once I made it out, I truly just embraced all of that and truly just moved forward with loving myself first, putting myself first, making sure I do what I'm supposed to do first.
Okay. Falcon, who's Claire? Falcon is checking in from Uganda. And I'm like, who's Claire? We have Rachel and we have Kendra on. I don't know who Claire is, but he's talking about one of you. Maybe it was a typo, but he's saying you all are doing a very nice job. Rachel, you had the opportunity to read my book. And I know that you shared it with the girls as well. With some of was it the mentees or just the mentors only?
With both.
And so how did that come about? Because I was thinking that some of my topics were not necessarily age appropriate. And so what topics did you all talk about? Like, what was the process? What did you all do?
So what we did was we did kind of select certain journal entries to cover. And, sometimes what we do is read the entry or we'll give like a snippet. I do know some of it is, out of their age, but we selected certain topics and read it to the young ladies, and we had a discussion. So we would when it came to relationships, that was a big one that we talked about. Can't remember everyone, but I know the relationship one stood out to me. And we just really, we threaded it out. We picked and choose, but we loved it because we got your personal experience, and then we also got a prompt. So that prompt allowed the young ladies to think about what they just read, but then also to self-reflect how it applies to their life.
Okay, that's good. That's good feedback. I was wondering how that worked out. I was like, well, I don't know if that's really age appropriate, but sometimes people ask you, what's your target audience, age group, and I always say, well, 34 to 44, or even going up to 54, and so now I'm just kind of paying attention to see what some of the younger folks are having to say. So I appreciate it. And actually, Rachel, I appreciate you too for inviting me to serve as a guest speaker twice for your girls group, and then I spoke once for the boys as well. And so that was interesting to be able to get to know them. Kendra, before we sign off, do you have any questions for me or comments or?
I really enjoyed the live. It was so much to learn from you, Rachel. Keep moving forward. This beautiful vessel. I wish you peace and blessings and everything that you do.
Thank you. And do you have any messages that you want to share? There is someone that is watching that can relate to you, or that does relate to you, or there's a young lady or young man that's watching who's in foster care, or so I'll pause. Do you have any message that you want to say to them?
Yes, if any, youth can relate to what I'm saying. Yes, I talk about God first, but I can definitely relate to you on a bigger level of experiences that I went through from 13 to 21. It's not pretty, it was challenging, but I got through it. And you just, you have to change the negative from positive to get positive results. So keep moving forward. Just know that it's always somebody out there supporting you. It may not be somebody but it's somebody out there supporting you always. So, recognize that, pray about it and, move forward with that.
Thank you. And Falcon, he's checking in, and he says, sorry, he was talking about Rachel when he said, very nice job. And we have Teresa Smith checking in, and she says, Black Girls That Rock, loving it. And Rachel, for you, are there any messages, or is there a message that you would like to give to adults who are interested in mentoring, or who maybe don't realize that they can serve as a mentor?
Yes, I would like to say to any young lady or any woman or male that's interested in mentoring. A lot of people think that, I'm not qualified to mentor, but what I like to explain to each individual is that, your story has power to it. You might not have that perfect story or that perfect life, but you really can speak volumes to young ladies and young men within the community. And, I tell people that, your circumstances don't define you. Your surroundings don't define you. So that's one thing that I would say, no matter what your background is, you have a voice. Be that voice in your community and be a mentor to the young ladies to make a change. And never get comfortable.
And she said, and never get comfortable. Yes. And thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I really do appreciate your leadership, your mentorship. I appreciate you for just being you. Keep it up. Let's stay connected. Let's network, and we can accomplish some things together. And you all have a beautiful day. And I thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was today's show, and my purpose for today was just to support some of our young folks and to celebrate them and to highlight them. As I mentioned earlier, it's important to support youth development and leadership to foster positive change that will benefit us all, right? And everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next Saturday. Hi, Carla. Thank you. She says it's a great show. And as always, you can learn more about me at ShawntaJackson.com. And we'll see you next week. All right. Thank you.